Hello, everybody.
How you doing?
Woo-hoo! It's a beautiful day here in Tennessee.
Well, we do have storms in the area again.
What else is new?
We did lose power for about a minute. It just blinked,
Just like the last time.
blinked, came back on, and the router had to reset. We lost connection, but we're here.
Do you think that's a message that we
I
shouldn't
don't
be
know.
doing lives?
They don't want us to do any live. Seems like that every time we log on, there's a storm.
The universe is against us for lives.
Man, it loves to storm here. I'll say that, and it loves to rain.
It's definitely different than Florida in that respect. At least I feel like in Florida, you knew what was coming and how to deal with it.
You could set your watch on a thunderstorm every afternoon for 10 minutes.
But here, you just never know. It comes in like, bam, makes a mess, puts out the power, and leaves.
Yeah, you don't get any notice.
No notice.
No notice.
Well, yesterday, the power went out without a storm.
Without a storm.
I don't know.
Only 5 people lost power, and the weather was great. So we think maybe they were just working on a line and had to disconnect and then reconnect. But it was only out for 30 minutes. So it really didn't inconvenience us.
I just keep saying, welcome to the weird world we now live in. So
even the weather's unpredictable.
Everything is crazy everywhere. So laugh a lot, smile a lot, and just go with the flow and enjoy life. It's what you got to do because it's just a little cuckoo.
A little bit.
But anyway, thank you all for joining us today.
Yeah.
This was a kind of spur of the moment thing. Brett woke up this morning and said, hey, I think we should do a live.
We got enough stuff to talk about. That's
so here
really
we are.
It is, you got to have stuff to talk about.
And I see we have a couple moderators on today, Kathy and Nancy. Hey, guys, thank you for being with us. Yeah. We love our moderators. They keep the chat nice and friendly. No drama. You got to love that. At least I do.
We appreciate that, yeah.
I love no drama. It's my favorite zone to be in.
Yeah.
So actually, there's quite a few people on here. So thank you all for joining us. I hope you guys have been taking care of yourselves and each other and enjoying this beautiful world and the beautiful people in it and staying away from the ones that aren't so beautiful. And
we do have a little announcement to make.
We do?
Toward the end of the live stream.
Oh, okay.
So we'll wait a little while. We'll just dangle a little carrot in front of your face there. It's not any big news.
I like carrots.
It's not anything.
As long as you can dip them in some nice
earth-shattering
ranch dressing.
It is new information, and we will pass that along.
New.
So some people want to know about that workbench. What did we decide to do with the workbench?
So far, I think it's going to be natural with a strip of blue.
Yeah, we haven't done anything with it, so the blue doesn't bother me.
So I think that's just the way we're going to leave it.
Yeah, we'll just leave it there.
So he gets his streak of blue, and the rest will stay natural. It's unique piece.
I think a lot of people.
He's an artiste.
I think most of the comments lean toward the natural, which I wasn't against that either. I mean, either one would have been fine.
Au natural.
So we just left it. It's got character. It's got a blue stripe.
Tracy says it's been hot in Texas. Summer is here.
Yeah,
I bet.
It's been warm here too. It's been sticky.
When we visited Texas, I said, I don't think I want to be here during the summertime.
No, it is miserable hot. If you are in the 90s in Texas, that's a cool day.
I mean, I don't want to be in Florida during the summertime either,
right.
But that's a different kind of heat than the Texas heat.
Yeah.
So, but I don't want either one of them.
It gets hot and sticky here too, especially when it's been raining and then the cloud cover, because the sun has to come out in order to evaporate that moisture. And so when the clouds move in and it's been raining, it really gets humid. So you'll see the humidity go up at night. Usually it'll cool off a little bit, but there's so much humidity. The air is so thick with humidity that it's
Hi, Christy.
Uncomfortable. But I still think it's better than Florida in terms of humidity, though.
Hi, Teresa. Thank you for the love from Maine.
Ah, Maine is in the house.
Yeah. One day I still want to visit Maine.
Yeah.
There's so many places on the list for sure.
Yeah.
Can't even wait. But we did have some fun this past week visiting another place.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it was close, it was still pretty awesome.
It's about a 4-hour drive. You can probably do it in 3.5 in a car. But with the motorhome and towing the Jeep, it took us about 4 hours. We visited Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg area. And if you haven't been there, there's a couple of tips we have for you.
Oh, first of all, I want to say it is beautiful over there.
It's gorgeous.
It's very touristy, very crowded.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are in the outskirts and you're staying up in the mountains around there, driving through the mountains, oh, it's just gorgeous. And you got the tree canopies and you got that cool mountain air in the mornings and the evenings. And Brett said it was like a sweet smell when you were driving through the mountains, like the honeysuckle.
You could smell like a honeysuckle type fragrance. I don't know if that's what it was, but it was just a sweet smell that you don't smell when you're in town. But as soon as you leave town, you're going uphill and you get to a higher elevation and there's more vegetation, and it was just nice. It was nice.
I love the nature.
It's also cooler. It's also about 5 degrees.
It was very nice sleeping with the windows open and having that cool mountain air. It was a great night's sleep with that.
Yeah.
But I love the nature part of everything. There's no shortage of things to do and places to spend your money. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of fun stuff that we did do. We didn't get too carried away with trying to do too much. Of course, my family was visiting.
Mm-hmm.
They had a nice Airbnb that they stayed at, and we hung out there quite a bit with them. So it was fun just doing we were playing card games and board games.
Yahtzee.
And Yahtzee.
Trivial Pursuit, Millennium Edition, which we weren't very good at.
But it was fun and we learned a lot.
Yeah.
What else were we playing? Rummy.
Yeah.
And it was just a lot of fun because, a lot of people don't do that anymore. And they don't sit around and conversate. Everybody's on their phones and rushing around. So it was really nice being able to just chill with everybody and spend the time. And it kind of felt like when we were growing up, because that's what we did. We didn't have all the phones going on. So it just reminded me of growing up, and it was really cool. I loved it. So we need to do more of this. So when we go to the estate sales, we need to look for some board games. Because I don't know, I think that's way better than playing on your phone or watching TV, in my opinion.
And as much as we lose power around here, we might be board gaming it up.
That's for sure. That is for sure. So what was your great parts of the trip?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Cades Cove. I enjoyed doing the free things. Obviously, I'm a bit of a cheapskate, but I like to get a value. We did do some activities. There are some tips, though, for visiting the Pigeon Forge area. And one that we learned right away, when you're going down into Gatlinburg, so it's Pigeon Forge and then Gatlinburg. They're kind of together, but they're about 10 miles apart. And you travel through part of the Blue Mountain, Smoky Mountains National Forest is between the two. So it's pretty. It's a nice winding curve. And
thank you, Nancy.
So the few tips that I have is if you drive into Gatlinburg, they're going to charge you $10 to $20 for parking. So we had to eat that one the first time, but we quickly learned that there's a place before Gatlinburg going south that you can park at, and it's the visitor center to Gatlinburg, and they have a trolley system. You can park there for free. The trolley will take you into town, and it's probably only a 10-minute drive into town.
It's a really nice trolley system that'll take you, I think there's like 4 different trolleys, and it will take you to Pigeon Forge, all over Gatlinburg.
Yeah. And
it's not too terribly inconvenient. And everywhere to park in Gatlinburg is like $20.
Yeah.
And
quite expensive.
They get full. They fill up pretty quick.
Yep.
So, and I know a lot of people don't want to be bothered with the trolley, so they just go ahead and pay that $20 and park right in the mess of things. But I don't think it's that big of a deal or put you that out of the way.
I think the trolley system is good. Now, I think it could be tweaked a little bit because the trolley only has one door, where we've seen trolleys where there's 2 doors exiting, 2 doors entering. So it's very quick transition.
Oh, that's funny. Nancy Nancy gave a membership and also received it.
Oh, wow.
So
there you go.
I guess you were just really meant to have it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
YouTube is crazy with that.
Here, hey, gift it, re-gift it.
You really have to laugh.
I don't think I've seen that on any channel.
That's funny. I think that's like the second time that's happened on our channel, to be honest.
Maybe people are saying, no, I don't want it.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, crazy. It was a lot of fun. There was so much to see. But another tip is to get up and get out early.
Early, yes.
Because as the day progresses,
it gets busy.
It gets super busy. And of course it gets warmer, but the lines for things around 11 o'clock really start getting quite long.
Because most people are there, they're probably having a late night. So they're not wanting to get up early. So by the time they're getting up and getting out and getting to the attractions, they've already, you should be already up 4 hours. A lot of people are getting up late and wandering, and they're dealing with traffic. They're dealing with lines.
So they'll have a much longer day. So it's way better to get up and out early.
So use the trolley. Then we have get up early.
Pack snacks and sandwiches and drinks.
Pack snacks, sandwiches, and drinks so you don't have to pay for the expensive ones in the town.
Of course, that's my rule all the time.
Yeah, we always pack. Sometimes we pack and we didn't eat it and we come back and eat it.
You don't want to be caught hangry. And the food prices are pretty high, so you got to try to save where you can. Of course, we still went out to eat and enjoyed some meals. We went out one night to the Golden Corral, and I haven't been there in probably, I think, 15 years.
Yeah.
And the amount of variety of food they had was just
And I want to say something about the Golden Corral at that location, because I hadn't been to one in over 20 years, because I think the last one I went to was in Anchorage, Alaska, and it wasn't that great. The quality of food is always skeptical. But I must say, and I'll give them kudos, that everything I ate was good.
It was good. It was fresh.
I gave them a review, and I also let them know that the ribs were good. The roast beef stuff was good.
They had steak and shrimp.
Steak was good.
It was really delicious.
Yeah, everything I had was good. And everybody that was eating with us.
Yeah, because we had a party of like
16, I think
16 was it?
Yeah. 16
there was a lot of us. We took up a lot of tables in there.
Yeah.
So we just had a ton of fun hanging out with everybody. And my niece's friends from Florida came in. They're actually from the Dixie County, Levy County area. So they came in and we had a lot of fun just hanging out with everybody. Those are the priceless times. The vacation is the bonding and the different conversations and fun, in my opinion. I really love that.
And not everybody went to every attraction.
No.
We picked and choose. A lot of the people that came were kids. So some of the kids wanted to see something different or do something different. Some of them wanted to ride roller coasters. We weren't interested.
And that's a great thing, to have a flexible plan where you're not like strict with your itinerary or everybody has to do all the same stuff. So it makes it enjoyable for everybody, because not everybody likes the nature part. Not everybody likes all the roller coaster type of stuff. So it was really fun.
There's something there for everyone. A couple more tips
really
I have. And how many people they had? I think they had 9 people were staying at the Airbnb, and they all split the bill. So that's a tip.
Yeah.
Don't get a hotel and pay hundreds of dollars for the week. Everybody was there about a week. Some people left a day or so early. But they got an Airbnb for 1 week. It had a hot tub in it, a full kitchen,
washer and dryer, a pool table, cornhole,
dartboard. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun.
So when you split that bill divided by 9, I don't know what it was.
And the house was big enough for everybody to have plenty of room and have visitors come over too. But I want to say, I'm just guessing roundabout, but when they split the bill, it was probably like $250 to $300 per person for a week.
For the week.
So that's pretty phenomenal, I think.
Yeah. And
you get to enjoy the house, because most hotel rooms don't have full kitchens or washer and dryer and all that. So
yeah, they had everything there.
That's another good tip for sure.
Yep. And they were 10 minutes from the attractions. We were about 20 to 25 minutes from the attractions.
Yeah. And there was even a nice fire pit with chairs around it. So we made s'mores one night. It was just good bonding
vacation.
time.
It's like it's supposed to be a vacation.
So you got to do fun activities, but you still relaxed. And you have to have a good balance of that. Because I know I've been on some vacations, like when you go to New York, you're just like jam packed, running. And by the end of your vacation, you're so exhausted. But this one, you weren't.
Yeah.
So I fully enjoyed that. But out of the attractions, we did, I want to say,
Anakista.
We did Anakista. That was really great.
Yeah.
I think that was really worth the money.
That one's,
sure.
I think, worth the money because what it is, it's a ski lift and it takes you up. So when you ride the ski lift to the top of the mountain, you're going to get some great views. So that means you can skip the restaurant tower, which charged, I think, $60 to go up it. Because you're above the tower, so you don't need to go to the tower. And we were higher than the other. There was another escalating chairlift attraction across from us up the other mountain that had a bridge you go across, and they had a big American flag in it. We did have video, and you'll see all this in the videos up, forthcoming about the area. But that was another tip. Pick the attraction that has like the most stuff. Because once you get to the top, there's other stuff.
Hi, Georgie.
There's stuff you can do. There was treetop ropes with bridges.
There's just
treetop walkway.
There's so many cool things. Yeah. And I said, we're definitely going to have to go back in the future because I like doing the activities, but I don't want to try to do all of them and exhaust myself and be broke. So you got to leave something for the next time.
I was pleasantly surprised with Ripley's aquarium too. That was better than I thought it was.
He said, "Who goes to an aquarium in the Smokies?" And I'm like, "Oh, I love going to aquariums. It's going to be so much fun." But it was even more phenomenal than I thought. Yeah. It was really super cool. They did a great job in there. The way the glass is, you can take great footage, videos,
real
pictures.
Good lighting. So you'll have creatures right there.
And they made it so that they come right in front of you, back and forth, and they have like shark tunnels that you can walk through. And it was so much fun. And of course, there's a bunch of stuff for the kids to do in all the different places we went. And me being the big child I am, was in there on my knees playing around with all the kids. And of course my knees were hurting the next day. I said, I'm going to need some knee pads when we go on these things, because I like to do everything that I can and just have fun. And it's so funny when the little kids are in the playground or stuff and they're telling you about the different animals and stuff, and they think it's really cool that adults are hanging out in there too and enjoying it. So I love the curiosity of the children for the animals and for all the nature stuff.
We got splashed by a death ray, I think it was.
Oh, that was it was a stingray.
A stingray.
That little guy, it looked like he was flying out of the water.
Yeah.
So I was standing next to my nephew and my niece, and we were leaning in because you could pet the stingrays. And this guy just like comes flying out of the water. He was feisty, and he
was just flat.
Yeah, he soaked me and my nephew. It was hilarious.
I think I got that on video. I didn't check it, but I was filming at the time, and I jumped out of the way.
And then he didn't do it again until we started walking away.
But I think I got it on the video. So.
But it was so much fun.
Yeah,
I love being able to act like a little child with no worries
and you learn a lot of stuff when you read about the different fish and living organisms in the ocean. I mean, you learn stuff.
What about those huge sea turtles?
Yeah,
they're like huge. Swimming right over your head when you're walking.
So there's a tunnel. There's a tunnel, and you're walking through, and everything is right around you. You can get right close to it. But yeah, there was a huge sea turtle.
And another thing they had was tons of miniature golf. Like. There were so many different miniature golf places, and we did play one day.
Yeah, we did one.
Which it was hard to do because we had such a large party.
We did, yeah.
So that was the only disadvantage of that. There was one that I want to do next time called the Hillbilly Golf.
That one seemed to be popular.
There was always a huge
line
for that.
But if you get there after 11, you're going to wait in line. So again, go early.
And I guess you kind of go on this incline railway up the mountain
Yeah.
and play golf. I don't know.
That golf course is in the side of the mountain.
It looked like fun.
And
So
you can't see that much of it from the road, so we really can't.
that's definitely next time.
It must be a big attraction because every time we would ride by it, it would be full. And it's actually a trolley stop. People will stop and get on right there. So, I didn't mention the trolley too is free. So take advantage of that trolley system. The parking is free. You take the trolley and the trolley's free, and they're all color coded. It was the purple one for us. So we took the purple one into Gatlinburg every day, and it brings you right back. It's a 10 or 15 minute ride is all it is. And it's 1 or 2 stops.
Hi, Kim.
And that's it. So it was really convenient, and not paying $20, is also a big savings when when you go into town every day of the week. That can be $100.
Hey, yo, Skipper. What up, yo?
Yeah. What's up?
Another thing we did was Ripley's, believe it or not. I love going to those because there's so much odd stuff in there.
They're entertaining, aren't they?
They are.
The tallest man's like 9 feet. Yeah, it's crazy.
And the last time I've been to one was in St. Augustine. I've been to the one in St. Augustine and one in New York. And there's just always tons of fun.
I think I've been to the St. Augustine one.
Yeah. I went with my niece. It was quite a few years ago, but it's always fun checking out all the neat stuff. So we made a video in there too that we still have to throw out. There was a few things my niece and her friends did. They went to the Titanic and a crime museum. They went to a pirate dinner show. There's lots of different dinner shows you can go to. They can be pretty pricey though, and I think Dolly Parton owns them all.
Dolly has.
I think she owns the whole town.
She's got some income streams going on besides.
No doubt, she is a smart businesswoman.
She's got restaurants. Like I don't know how many.
She also owns a lot of the dinner shows that are like around Destin and Pensacola. So that city is not the only place where she owns the dinner show venues. She even has a statue in front of the courthouse, which we didn't get to see. It's a beautiful courthouse that they have downtown in
Pigeon Forge.
Is that in Pigeon Forge?
Yeah.
We were through so many different cities. It was like confusing at times, but I don't know. It was just so much fun. And I feel like we did a lot. And we did Cades Cove, which was a beautiful drive through the mountains and nature.
It's an 11-mile loop trail, and it's a wilderness trail, and it's one direction. It is paved, and there's several old homesteaded homes or former family members where the structure is still standing, and you're able to stop there and walk through.
And there's tons of hiking opportunities. But the tip for that place, again,
get
there as soon as it opens, because the line can get so long with lots of traffic. And we got there, I think it opens at 6:30.
It's daybreak to.
Yeah. So at the time of year we were there, 6:30 is the opening. I think we got there at 7. Okay. And it was great. There wasn't many people at all. We saw bears, we saw deer, we saw turkeys, and humans.
Yeah.
So,
and we took the tops off the RV, and you were standing in the seat.
Jeep.
So she's
not the RV, the Jeep.
The Jeep. I'm sorry, the Jeep. So we took the tops off the Jeep, and she was standing in her seat where she got a good view.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I even got a huge bruise. I don't think it's still there, but I had a huge bruise. It's pretty light now.
It's right over here.
From when we were traveling too fast and jerked, and I hit my arm, because we also went to the Roaring Fork, which is another drive, and that one was pretty crowded too. But it was great. There was waterfalls,
and most of it shaded.
Yeah. And now I think it was about 2 years ago, they passed a thing where you have to have this parking pass to park your car and walk around and hike. And they have daily and weekly and yearly passes, which was a thing they thought of to create revenue for the parks, because the Smoky Mountain Park gets more visitors per year.
I didn't know this fact.
Then was it Yellowstone?
The Grand Canyon and Yosemite combined.
Yeah. So, and they don't charge any fee.
Right.
So they need money to keep up with all the millions of people that come to visit every year. So that was a creative way to do that. So they can also hire more rangers to help pick up trash and to do the search and rescues. So it's amazing that so many people come to this area every year to visit, and they're able to operate, and they've had a low budget. So I hope that new idea they thought of helps them a lot.
Yeah, and it's a nominal fee. I think it's $5 a day.
$5 a day, and I think
Or
only
you-
40 for the year.
Yeah, and you can get the annual pass for 40. You can go as much as you want. You don't need a sticker. Now, if you're just driving through and you're not
Stopping
and walking away from your car, then you don't need it. So if you're just doing a real short stop, looking at a house that's right by the road and get back in your car, then you're fine.
And that's a pass that you can buy online or at the
when you
different
get down
parks
there.
themselves. It has a vending machine
Mhm.
where you can get them. So I just thought that was nice. And there was even cabins that you could rent that were at the end of the Roaring Fork that looked
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
cool. And they were
Oh,
like
yeah.
$125 a night, full
Yep.
kitchens, the whole nine. It was peaceful. And
Eli's Mill, it was called.
Yeah.
Eli's Mill.
when you're driving through nature, of course, for me, and I know for most people, you just feel so close to God because you're looking at his creation,
Yeah.
his artwork, and it just makes you feel so relaxed. If you're around a bunch of concrete and high rises, you're not going to feel relaxed because that's not what God created.
Right.
So it goes hand in hand to helping you relax and unwind, and you're just looking at the beautiful trees,
Yeah,
the
we
animals.
weren't designed to live in concrete.
No.
We weren't. We were designed to live in a garden, actually. But yeah,
The Garden of Eden.
well, that was the
But
idea.
when you look around, I'm just always in awe of God's artwork and just looking at the beautiful mountains and the landscape. I can't wait to put those videos out and share those beautiful views with everybody, because I just feel so blessed to be able to be in that atmosphere for a short time and just take deep breaths and unwind.
Mhm.
It's a great feeling. I'm like, I could live in these mountains for
It
sure.
was nice.
I don't like the touristy part so
Yeah.
much, and it just gets jam-packed. But I was fortunate for the RV park that Brett picked out that was a little bit off of everything. So we got to take this beautiful drive through the mountain, in and out, to get to the RV park. And I know where my sister and niece and all them were staying, I don't think they got the beautiful drive back to the Airbnb every day. So
No,
I enjoyed that drive.
They're about 2 miles off the strip.
And I loved the RV park that we were staying in too, because they had a pool, a saltwater pool we got to
Saltwater
use.
pool, which I've never been in before.
And they were just really nice. When there were storms or anything going on, they would send a text to your phone to let you know things. And
there's a river that winds around it. We weren't parked on the river, but if you were parked on the river, then they would move you, because they warn you during a flash storm that river can swell, and it swells fast.
Yeah, and I couldn't believe how much it rose. But when you're down in the valley and after rain, it can really get flooded quite quick, and you'll see the creeks moving fast, and it's pretty interesting.
It swelled about 5 or 6 feet, which puts it above a lot of the banks, and it starts.
But we were staying in the high ground.
We were on the high ground,
so. And I also thought it was cool. And by the way, happy belated Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Yep. Happy Father's Day.
And single moms who had to pull double duty. I know I did. So every year my son will text me and say, Happy Father's Day to me. Thank you for being the father to me that you shouldn't have had to be. And it means a lot. But the RV park, they had donuts for dads, which I thought was so sweet.
And we were headed back, and I was like, oh, we got a text that said, come by the office and pick up your gift bag or your donuts.
They even gave out like this swag
I was like,
bag.
oh, we got to hurry up. They're going to be gone.
And it had like a little flashlight in it, a bunch of Sharpie markers, a tape measure.
Like a knife for your keychain.
Oh, yeah, a keychain knife. And then, of course, some Reese's Cups and Hershey Kisses. But I thought that's so sweet.
And donuts at the office.
Yeah, Krispy Kreme.
They were good.
So it was just super nice.
And I can't say enough about the ladies working in the office there. They were
awesome.
Helpful. When you get there, you get a welcome packet that shows you how to connect your Wi-Fi, because there is a little extra steps with their Wi-Fi.
Whoa.
with the Wi-Fi and with the there is cable TV too, but I couldn't get ours to work. But we didn't care because if we had the Wi-Fi,
We weren't there to really watch
right,
TV.
the
so.
TV then gets like 399 channels. So then what do you need 40 more channels for?
399
Yeah, I think
channels of
that's what it
nothing
gets,
on.
of nothing
right?
on, right?
Trish said it's been like 109 in California.
Ooh,
That is crazy.
that's what starts all those wildfires, that lightning.
Crazy.
Alaska's going through it too. They have a heat wave up there.
Yeah, and it's even hotter for them there because they're so used to the cold. So it doesn't have to get super, super hot. And I think
Yep.
from what I remember of being there is the sun feels so much brighter there.
You're closer to it.
So
it has
that was a
burn
different
to it.
feeling. So I feel bad. I know Jason has been a little warm there, and
he's having to explain things on his face
because other people are like, oh, it's just in the 80s, no big deal. Well, for them it is a big deal because they're acclimated to the cold weather.
Right.
So
when you're making fun of them for, oh, you can't take the heat, well, just remember you can't take the cold. So
I know I couldn't.
When they're coming out of winter and it's spring break and the ice is starting to break up, it's about 35, 40 degrees and they're in shorts. So take that, put it in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah, and like in Florida, there's a lot of people who can't take the heat when they come to visit because the people who live in Florida are acclimated to it, and you have to take a lot of precautions. And especially now with the severity of the weathers, no matter where you're at, you just got to really plan ahead.
Now, here's something that people don't think about either. They're like, okay, you had a day that was 80, 85. Okay, it's hot. But, it ain't stupid hot. No. In other states, in every other state, when it gets hot, in the evening it cools off. And then in the morning it's cool again, right? And then it gets hot. Not in Alaska. There is no night. So there's no night differential temperature. So when it's 80 at 2 in the morning too, and it's 80 at 6 in the morning. And
that sounds like Florida.
And it stays 80 until the weather pattern changes and shifts and moves the wind. That's the only time they get to cool off. So when it's 70 up there, they're looking for shade. They're not standing out in the yard chit-chatting. They're like, hey, can we talk over here under this birch tree? Because 70 out in the sun is hot there. It is.
It is.
It's closer to
I can attest to that for sure.
The earth is tilted, so Alaska in the summer is closer to the sun than anywhere else. Another thing, interesting fun fact while we're on the subject.
Oh, fun fact. Are you Sheldon?
Since I lived there, Fairbanks, for the size population of town that it is, there's no other town in the world of its population that has the temperature extremes that Fairbanks has. So they can be, now this is an extreme, but they can be minus 60 in the winter, but normal is 35 to 40 below zero. And then summers are usually 65 to 75. So, but they can get into the 90s. I was there and it was 104. We were dying. I was trying to put grass in my yard.
But did you die?
I did not die. But that sun was brutal. So
I couldn't help myself.
It can get over 100 degrees. It does make the national news up there when it gets that hot. It's not normal. 70 is normal.
What is normal anymore anyway?
I mean, everybody's having weird weather patterns.
Yeah.
So,
like I say, welcome to the weird world. Is it your first day here?
Weather the weather, right? It's crazy weather.
Speaking of crazy weather, let's talk about what happened last time we did a live.
Oh, yeah.
So remember when we said that there was this crazy noise with our roof and everything, and the power went out real quick before our last live? Well, that noise, I told Brett, I said, it sounds like our roof is ripping off. So towards the end of the live, some neighbors were sending us some pictures and asking, are you guys home? Because this is what your roof looks like. So we got off the live, we went outside, and Brett's going to show you a picture of what happened. If you can see, our roof really did get ripped off.
It peeled back like an onion.
So, and that was a scary, scary sound. So the whole time we were doing the live, it was right after that sound happened and the house shook, and I'm like, okay, I got to keep it together.
Something happened up there, but we can't go check it out right now.
Yeah, because it was still storming pretty bad. Plus, we were doing the live. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep it together. I'm not going to think about it. We're going to do this live and pray that everything is good. So that's the crazy thing that happened.
So that's a tin roof over asphalt shingles, which is not the proper way to install a tin roof.
Yeah.
You should remove the asphalt roof, or you need to use longer nails.
So
or screws, rather.
It was not done right.
Correct.
And then that night there was another storm at around 3 a.m. And I'm laying in the bed, and all of a sudden I start hearing this dripping noise right next to my head. And my cell phone's on the dresser, and I get up and there's water coming in. And the water was coming in the loft area, and then it was also coming into our bedroom on the lower floor right next to my head. So we get up, we scramble, we go up there with towels and bowls. There's like 3 different spots that the roof is leaking into the house. It was leaking right onto my cell phone on the dresser. It was so crazy. But thank God for our awesome realtor, Jennifer, who we love so much.
If you're out there, thank you.
We love Jennifer.
That was my first call.
Our lifelong friend now since we met her. She's just an awesome, beautiful person. And she had a great contact for us.
You have a roof guy?
And the roof guy she gave us the number for, he came out the next day and
on a Sunday.
On a Sunday.
You won't see that in Florida.
And he comes out of Nashville too, which is not right around the corner.
No, it's about an hour-and-a-half drive for him.
And he tarped the whole roof. So we left that morning not knowing the fate of anything to head to Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge. And this gentleman did a fabulous job with his team getting the roof all tarped while we wait now for the insurance to try to do a claim, which he told us could take 3 months.
It could take
in some instances because of the racket with the insurance companies and all the stuff you have to go through to get the claims done.
And we do have repair cost insurance, so that'll all be. We already had the roof mitigated. That means preventing further damage. So we didn't have any interior damage, even though we had a couple leaks inside. It was just
we acted quickly to get that taken care of.
Yeah. First thing you want to do is you got to cover that roof up to protect any further damage.
So thank God for that wonderful contact and that he was able to get here right away and get that covered. So even in the meantime, while